Early, I think. All right, we're gonna get started here momentarily. My apologies. We had ourselves some computer challenges, believe it or not.
Oh, you too? Oh, wow.
I did. I had to reboot and all that kind of stuff. So you gotta love Microsoft, don't we?
And Zoom.
Ah.
Feeling
Maybe
the
a
love.
lot more.
Yeah.
So okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Ho ho ho! Santa Sam has a lot of dough. Boom.
Woo! Santa Dave.
There you go.
I would
I'm
say,
telling you.
Santa Sam has a lot of dough.
Do me a favor, if you see Greg pop up in the panelists, let me know because I got to make him a co-host because who knows, Zoom is being a challenge. All right, so welcome. So first things first, where are you from, and what's your one word for doing business business with the federal government? How about
David,
you,
can you turn my
Raphael? What's your
video
one
on?
word?
Hola.
Hola.
Bob says intimidating.
Yeah.
Good word. Good
Yeah.
word. What's your one word, Sally? Wait.
Well, it's kind of three words, but it's in the one word.
What is it?
OMG.
Oh, gee.
Or here's another one. Whiskey
Carl
Tango
says
Fox,
Carl.
Whiskey
He's
Tango
from
Foxtrot.
Hartford. What else we got here? Rob says fired. Lori says inefficient. I can't imagine you would say such a thing, Lori. What an insult to the people that used to be in the business. Brian Hebel. Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. You used to be in the business. What's your one word?
Yeah, 32 years in the business as a CEO. I will say reach. Reach is fine.
All right.
Okay, Dave. I never really thought about that, but you know what? Just reach higher.
Reach
Higher.
higher. Okay. And Jay Talbot says disturbing. So you.
What?
Daunting.
Daunting. That's a good one.
Okay. I want somebody muted myself. Somebody muted me. How does that happen? All right. So
I can understand
where are
it.
you from, and what is your one word for doing business with the government? Cynthia says on-time delivery. All right, fantastic. Okay, who is that? Who is saying they need their
That's
video
me.
started?
That's me, David.
Hold on a second. You're impersonating me. That's why. That's
Okay.
why.
Maybe he
I
muted
could
you.
never. I could
This
never
is
do
rich.
that.
This is
So
rich.
Peter Timmis decided he's going to log in as me.
Mhm.
We're going to have a conversation
He
with Peter
also
Timmis
muted
after
you.
this event.
Let me change that.
All right, that's all good. So, all right. So, where are you from, and what's your one word for doing business with the federal government? I'm from Woodstock, Maryland. So my one word is nuts. How about that?
Hey, Dave. Word CPARs.
That's a good word.
You know, it crossed my mind, Brian, as you were speaking earlier. I was gonna shout it out. CPARs, like Tourette's. CPARs.
It's still under the radar right now, Rafa. So don't let that out.
No. I was gonna say just like Tourette's. CPARs.
CPARs. CPARs. All right. So welcome everybody. What's your one word for doing business with the federal government? Chuck's from South Michigan, just north of Detroit. Chris Fox says challenging from University of Arizona Applied Research Corporation. Fantastic. Welcome, Chris. And Rob Lundholm is Carl Slicer. Not Rob. We got all kind of
This is
impersonators here,
crazy.
man. People clicking links. All right, Joseph Destro says stability. I like that word. Slow, Kenneth says, and complicated. Kia says, oh, you agree with all those things? It is all those, right, guys?
Yep.
So now what happened? Look, 10-1. We started Q1. We're almost through Q1, ladies and gentlemen. Almost through Q1 as we're halfway through December. And this is not the right hot seat question, so I'm going to have to pause this. Hold on. I ran into a challenge. What is happening with my Zoom?
What's happening, Dave?
I don't know.
There you go.
But we do want I'm going to start here. We do want participation. It's easy. You can chat, you can raise your hand, and you can put stuff in for questions for Q&A. You can do that. A quick disclaimer for industry. This is not affiliated, endorsed by any agencies, provided to you, the audience, for informational purposes only. and it does not guarantee an award, believe it or not. And for Govies, like Brian used to be, if you're participating in your government personnel, it's not an indication of endorsement to purchase from anybody else that's here that's a vendor. We do this because that's what GSA told us to do years ago on GovBrief. So we will connect you with experts. We got some here. We'll be discussing what works and highlighting sponsors, and you can get a free trial of Sam Radar. That's one of the sponsors here. So we love our sponsors and our partners, the folks that you're seeing here on your screen. So let's get to know each other. How about that? Hang on one sec. Let me see if I can do this right and go to polls. Zoom changed the poll thing, right? Let's get to know each other. All right. How long you been in business? That's the first thing. And if you've ever won any federal business, either directly or as a sub or not yet. And have you ever been to one of these sessions before with GovBrief or selling to the government? We appreciate it. The handouts are going to be in the chat momentarily. Hang on a sec. I'm going to pause the screen so I can grab everything. Because as you know, I am not running properly today. So that's good. I appreciate your participation. Let me grab this link for everybody. And we can pop this into the chat. We do have some cool stuff in there for you. I mean, I gotta say to everyone, everybody's got to be able to do with everyone, don't
For
they?
all 58 participants, Dave.
All right, fantastic.
Amazing. Fantastic,
So there you
everyone.
go. This is the link to the GovBrief box. Please do let me know. Hang on, I'm gonna share this out. It should look like this when you click the link. And you'll see things like the CAPE statement from Rafael Marrero and Company. We got some other budget resources. That's an old one. That's interesting. But we do have the preliminary 2023 spending report that's in there for you, which we'll be reviewing today. So I want to make sure you got that. Those links are in the chat, as well as a winnable opportunity matrix. So what's your one word for describing the federal market? Some knucklehead invited me. That's right. I know that's right, Jay. Let's see. Complicated. Is this a view only on Zoom? I don't know, Scott. What are you asking me? Not sure what that is. I didn't have the thing. I didn't have stuff set up right. All right. So we have inefficient. WTF. All right. Disturbing. On-time delivery. Let's see, challenging, stability, slow, complicated. And anybody else got any last minute one words that you have to describe for doing business with the federal government? I can't do that, Carl. Carl, you are robbed for the day. I think, wait a minute, maybe I can. Let me see. I'm gonna make you a co-host. Boy, this is dangerous. I'm making Carl Slicer a co-host.
Scary.
Hang on. Be careful, Carl. You can change your name now, Carl. All right. So we have Essential from Don Black. Lots of money in it, says Wesley. And the federal government has changed a lot. I would agree. So in all of these things, that is why we're here. Let's take a look at what happened with the poll here with the results. Most people have been around here for a while. That's great. 31% have direct federal contracts and 17 as a sub, and 51% do not. And we have 64% that are brand new. Welcome, everybody. How about that, Sally White?
That's incredible. Welcome,
All right.
Welcome.
So now that you guys know we know a little bit about you guys, let's talk a little bit about the folks that are here today. We have the Colonel, the Doctor. He is the Kentucky Fried Cuban, ladies and gentlemen. The Dr. Rafael Marrero is in the house. Say hello, Rafa.
Hey, Dave. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Very glad to be here. And we'd be very happy to help you look at your business to government marketing materials to help you stand out in this competitive market.
That's right. And if somebody in your marketing team says, what is a capability statement? You probably need a little help. What do you think, Rafa?
That's right. If you get the deer in the headlights look when you ask someone for a capability statement, you're in the wrong place. You're dealing with the wrong vendor. We specialize in basically creating memorable, well-crafted, custom designed marketing assets for your brand in the federal government. This ranges from capability statements to capabilities videos, stunning websites that communicate exactly what the government is looking for, your capabilities a briefing deck, exactly that what you use for your meetings, and your business cards, because even government business cards are different.
That's awesome, man. And you do a great job. And that's why we send everything to you for our marketing stuff. Greg Clark, is Greg here?
No,
No,
he
he's
has some
not.
work done. He's got some work being done in his office.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by loud Cubans. Go figure. Cubanos, right? Hey.
Guys,
Oh my gosh. For those, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, Rafael Marrero is Cuban. So if you can send all your emails to hr@rafaelmarrero.com.
That's right.
So he does have workers there that are putting up hurricane shutters, because he's not far from you, Rafa. He's in South Florida. You're a little further south.
Yeah.
But we did unsolicited proposals, brand new, on demand. I think we had 75 people there last time, so that was really, really cool. If you didn't get the chance to see that, it's one of the best sessions we did. There's new changes with unsolicited proposals, so you probably want to get in on that. We also have Sally White with Echo Wolf Solutions. Say hello, Sally.
hi everyone. So happy to meet everyone. Happy Tuesday, 12/12. Excited
There
to
you
connect
go.
with all of you.
Fantastic. So Sally is a master networker. She helps folks with LinkedIn, as well as you do like you'll go places for people for industry days, right?
I do go places for people. Wherever somebody wants me to go, they just send me a ticket and I go. No, I do a lot of conferences for people. A lot of the people here, we've done conferences together, Peter, Tiff, and Lending. So we'll either go and we'll do a pre-con campaign where we let all the people know we're coming, come see us at the booth, or we'll walk and stalk in a friender way, not a event friender, not a stalker, and where we connect with people. So all kinds of things to connect.
Love it. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. Peter Timbus in the house. How you doing, Mr. Peter Timbus?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning, everybody.
And
Nice
he is
to
the
be
only
with
one that
everybody.
has he's got the little code, so you can do your screenshot and go right to his TFA lending. And tell us what you specialize in lending for, Peter.
Well, we've been lending to government contractors for 33 years. And what we will do is, once you work with this total team approach here and you acquire a contract, we will give you access to capital. And where we're different is we're going to lend to the opportunity. We're going to lend to that contract rather than your financial statements. So whether it's your first contract or your 100th contract, we're going to be there to support you. And if I can back up one segment, is that when you're bidding on a federal government contract, if you need a letter of financial support, very important, we will be there to provide you with a letter of financial support that'll say to the government, should they award the contract to you, you have access to capital through our organization. Very powerful, very important.
Yep. And the reason it's so important is because government contracting officers like this character right here, they want to mitigate risk with the federal government, don't they, Brian Hebel?
We definitely do, Dave.
That's a fact. So tell us a little bit about you and acquisitionhelp.com. What do you guys do over there?
So since I'm a former CEO, I guess I really don't do anything, right?
Oh,
No, go for 32 years, 34 years in the government, been retired 6. And I do training to help people manage their contracts or win new contracts. And, some courses we do a bar crash course. We do CPARS training, how the government evaluates proposals, a simulated technical evaluation panel training exercise that we actually put you in a simulated government tech panel. And we actually do our simulated tech panel training and our CPARS do that at government agencies.
You train the govies, right?
Yeah, we train the govies too. So we have about, I guess, total of 15 courses we do, but the ones I mentioned are the ones we kind of are the most popular that we do over and over again. So we're just going to do the right thing. I've got a CPARS book coming out. I'm a CPARS expert, and we have some exciting news about CPARS for industry coming up in the next month or two, don't we, Dave?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. There's going to be some interesting things happening with that for sure. I'll tell you what, I love, we've done a lot of work. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I said, I'm here to keep it real for all you industry people.
Ah, we're here to put you on the hot seat, young man.
Okay.
So real quick today, I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. This is kind of sort of my thing. But today I'll be doing the SAM.gov tutorial live at 1 p.m. So if you're interested in that, you go to GovBrief and see that. GovBrief, as you probably know, a lot of folks already know this. It enables you to be the subject matter expert. We have folks like Brian, we have folks like Sally and Rafa and Greg, as well as other industry experts. And we also help you become the subject matter expert to the Govies. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you're interested, you can check out all the things that are on GovBrief, where that's getting repopulated for 2024. If you want to reach Govies, like Brian, we actually go out and market to the Brians that are still there, not retired Brians, and also the program people. It's one of the only ways that you can get out in front of program. That's what we recommend. That Sam Radar, we'll be featuring a lot of that today. Is going to be the feature. Why is that? Because Sam Radar gives you the ability to see the 98% that doesn't hit sam.gov. What do you mean, Dave? That's what I mean. 98% doesn't hit sam.gov, and it doesn't always post the way that you think it should, because the Bryans of the world. Do you even care about NACE codes, Brian?
Not really.
Not really. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He really doesn't care about NACE. I don't care what the NACE code is. So
Yeah.
there you go. So
Yeah.
What we're doing today, the 2-minute challenge. Can you review your email and reach out either by phone or clicking out an email and ask, number one, for a meeting, or number two, for a referral? Can you do that within 2 minutes? And so that is where we're going to be headed today. You're going to hear that a lot today. And I'm going to go back to the polls. And I'm going to ask this question. Do you want a piece of the 98%? Yes, you want to compete for the 98%, or no, you only want to do the 2% that hit sam.gov, or don't you believe me when I'm saying that 98% doesn't hit the street? And while you're answering that, I'll tell you about we monitor sam.gov as well. So we do the 2% and the 98%. Last time I checked, Rafa, that equals 100.
Give or take.
And then we also monitor for GSA e-buy on Quick Fuse, and we do GSA marketing as well as other marketing. So real quick, before we dive into the hot seat questions for today, and I got 3 of them. I didn't even tell the hot seaters what their butts on fire for, but here we go. We got several different areas that we talk about today, but contracting officers and specialists, that's the procurement folks. That's what Brian was, right, Brian? Contracting officer.
Forever.
And then you have program manager and project managers. So they're the ones that we'll see in just a minute that actually give the requirement to folks like Brian, right, Brian?
Yep.
And then you have contracting officer representatives that kind of build the gap, the gap between program and contracting officer, and they're the ones that give you your grade for your CPARs, right? Right, Brian?
Yep. FAR Part 7, the package, as we call the package.
The package.
The package.
That's awesome. And then, so those are people that are important as far as what you're doing in the federal government. Then you have senior management, right? So let's talk about this a little bit. You have your politicals that are the appointees from the president of the United States, right? Right, Brian?
Yeah.
Then you have your SESs and senior executives. I'll throw in your GS-15s. That's what you were, right?
Yes.
So, and you ran, how many folks worked under you as a contracting officer?
Well, I was a group director when I retired, so it was about 20 or so.
20 or so.
I was most of the time in my career as a division director. That's where I spent most of my time.
So as a division director, so he's a director, not an SES, but I would still consider you an executive in that, or director, right? So you were. That's what you were. So here's the key differentiator between these two audiences. And the reason I say audience is because folks like Rafael Marrero help you create a capability statement that speaks to both, right, Rafa?
That's right. That's what we do.
That's what you do. So they care about getting the job done. The other side of the house, the Bryans of the world, care about getting the contract done. So those are because the program people are not allowed by law, right, Brian, to be able to award a contract. Program people cannot.
Dave, as fast and efficient as we can get it done, and we like competition, just not too much of it.
Whoa, did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? How much competition do you like, Brian?
Oh, maybe getting 2, 3, 4, 5 proposals is fine, but
2, 3, 4, 5 proposals. Keep that in mind because we're going to see something about that in just a minute.
Sounds like
So-
a short.
What's that, Rafa?
Sounds like a short list.
That sounds like a short list to me. So you have your program people that have a need. They throw it over the fence to procurement, and it looks like this on your winnable opportunity matrix that you can download. Let me end this this poll here. Let's see what we have. 94% that want to compete, and 6% do not believe me, Rafa. 6% do not believe that there is such a thing. And if we can save you that money, stand by. And you have 2 minutes. All right, love it. That 2-minute challenge is underway. We're gonna wait a minute. Did I just share that poll with everybody? Stop
Yeah.
sharing. There you go. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing that poll. All right, here we go. So the PM, this is what it looks like in our winnable opportunity matrix. The PM, the project manager, program manager, throws it over the fence to the contracting officer. The contracting officer and the PM then create this opportunity. That's what an opportunity is. So here is the last report, which is in your handouts. So for those of the for the 6% that do not believe that I'm speaking the truth, this is direct from FPDS. What is FPDS, Brian Hebel?
Federal Data Procurement System.
That would be correct. And what do you use that for when you were there?
We would have to put the information in FPDS for every $0, $10, $1 million action. But after we put the information on the inside in FPDS, they really don't have access to what was put in there like we do on the outside.
That's correct. So you as a contracting officer put in the contract actions. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we get 87% of the contracts were 5 or fewer offers received. Why? Because folks like Brian, like how much competition, Brian?
Not too much.
Not too much. How many of us want to be one of the 5 or one of the 1? Because if you look at it, that's 75% only had 1 offer received. And what does it mean when nothing's reported? So you didn't report anything here, Brian. What does that normally mean? There's always an outlier, but what does it normally mean?
I always tend to think it's a 1.
Yep. That's what I found too. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your proof. This comes from FPDS, right? Right, Brian? They can look at this themselves on FPDS. They have to do a little work to get 10.4 million contracts in, but that's a database thing. So the hot seat question number 1 is, what does it mean that 87% of the contracts in FY 2023, this should be 2023, had 5 or fewer offers received? I'm going to correct this right now because I can't stand that. So what does that mean? Anybody want to throw in? What does it mean that 87% of the contracts had 5 or fewer offers received? Anybody want to throw in? What does that mean? Anybody? What does it mean?
Feel free to put your answer in the.
We're on the hot seat, Sally. What does it mean
Oh.
to you? We're
Well,
in
it
the hot
means-
seats. You're in the hot seat.
Tell you exactly what it means. It means that there were people like Brian who had already made some decisions. Number 1. Number 2, there were primes that were focused on it. And yeah.
Hey, Dave.
So go ahead, Rafa.
So, I mean, as a former procurement executive, right? My main goal was to mitigate risk. And what we did was we sourced, right? Sourcing was a very important component. We wanted to make sure that we had reliable vendors that had relevant past performance, that had the financials to withstand the ebbs and flows of the market, right? That could pay their employees and that could deliver as promised, right? Because I mean, sometimes folks out there promise you the sun and the stars, right? Or the moon, and they come up short. So we sourced, we vetted, we onboarded, and then we managed these vendors. And I wanted to make sure that we had best in class vendors. And so for that, it's essentially what we did was we had sort of like a down select process where we opened it up to a small universe of what we found to be compliant vendors that met the spec. And then we down selected with them to have an approved pool of vendors, right? That's very important, Dave, because you're trying to mitigate risk, and the government is risk adverse, right?
Mm.
You don't want, so having the top, 5 or few offers received, that's about typically what you're gonna have in terms of an assortment of best-in-class providers of any one service. I'll tell you right now, whether it's translations or engineering services or construction or IT, you're probably gonna have like the top 5, right? The big 5, like General Dynamics IT or Northrop Grumman, and of the big primes. And then you're gonna have like the GSA schedule holders and the SDVOs and 8As that are good in their space, right? That do a good job. But typically, that's what you want to have. You don't want to spend your entire time managing vendors, because vendor management, supplier management takes a long time and requires a lot of resources.
And you mentioned something with your socioeconomic set aside. So that's one of the ways it can happen, right? Because they can sole source to an 8A. They can use a choice of 2. They can actually sole source to woman-owned, hub zone, veteran-owned, and all that, right? Right, Sally?
That's absolutely correct. And so if they're on that list and it's sole sourced, they're going to sole source, and so it's not open to the rest of the population.
Yep. And that means that you don't even get to see it because
Right.
it's being sole sourced.
And
Another way that can happen, tell us. So if Brian, I know Brian's going to be he's going to be driving to Lutherville, he already told me. So one of the other ways is through a blanket purchase agreement or an IDIQ, where you have, even if it's up on sam.gov, it'll be posted, and that one award turns into a 5-year deal that can be a single awardee for a blanket purchase agreement or an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. That's what an IDIQ is. And when Brian hops back on, he can throw in on that. But we see task orders being sole sourced. We see even within that limited competition. Yesterday on the Monday roundtables, right, Sally? We had
absolutely.
Who do we have? Who was it? Chris Marin.
Chris Moran and Mike.
About,
yep.
They're working together as partners, but they're one of 6.
Mm-hmm.
One of 6 that won the IDIQ. So they're the only ones that get the task order. So that is how this is happening. It can happen through a socioeconomic set aside, right, Rafa?
Yep.
It can happen through a contract vehicle. It could be limited to just a few GSA contract holders. And Brian, you there?
I'm here, Dave. You hear me?
So tell us how a BPA or an IDIQ works. When you were a contracting officer, you would award somebody a BPA, right?
Yeah.
And that would be good for how long?
Yeah, well, I didn't do a whole lot of BPAs, I have to say, but certainly IDIQs. But the good news, if you're using GSA mass in a civilian agency or an IDIQ, depending on how many people are on the IDIQ, it just said what I said in the beginning. We don't like we like competition, not too much of it. So if you do a BPA and you only have 6 or 7 people, you can, limit your sources, which helps you get the procurement through the package per se, through the system quicker to obligate the money. And it's all about getting the work done and obligating the money from the contract shop for sure. Program office, it's getting the work done. Contract shop, it's, obligating the money and getting what they want done.
So there's 2 sides that Brian just talked about is the contract shop and the program shop, like we said in the beginning, right? So my next question, and this is what we're going to be talking about, is how can Sam Radar help with this? Because that's what we're going to focus on today, and the 2-minute challenge. So I'm going to show you a little bit from Sam Radar right now. Here's an award for $1.4 million. There were 2 offers received. You guys see that? Everybody see this?
Yes.
And we see that it's with FAS. That's GSA FAS. That's you just mentioned a MAS, which is multiple award schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a multiple award contract. So it could have gone through GSA. So it may have already been slimmed down and trimmed down by the competitive landscape of only GSA contract holders within that SIN or NAICS code, whichever they choose to follow. So the question that I have, as we're taking a look at this, is we can reach out to the buyer. What were we talking about? Let's just look at this one more time. What we want to do, 2 minutes a day. That's all I'm saying is 2 minutes a day. And what do we want to do? We want to reach out to this buyer. So Sam Radar says, hey, guess what? There's $1.4 million contract that was awarded. The chances are that this is on something that is, first of all, it's already awarded. So you can't win it because it's already awarded. But it probably never hit sam.gov. We see this all the time. So what are we going to do? We're going to click this button. And that button says, hey, can I chat with you about the award to Planet Management Group, LLC? And all you want to do, you're going to ask for a meeting with the contracting officer. If you want to punch Planet Management Group in the mouth, you can do that by reaching out to the buyer directly and say, hey, we do something similar. Let us play next time. Since you only had 2 offers, let me at least be the 3rd offer, right? And then the other thing you can do is you can ask for a referral. You guys with me? Who would he ask a referral for? Who does this guy David Kilborn know? We know for sure from Brian that they know the PM in GSA. We also know that they know the PM and the person that's responsible for running this contract in the prime. Now, a referral to the internal PM is a risky ask. And as Brian said, risk averse. Everybody knows it, right, Rafa? The risk averse, right,
Absolutely.
Rafa?
Absolutely.
So if they're risk averse, they may not give you the PM. Even they know that they know it. They know who they are, but they might not give it to you. But they will most likely give you the PM for the prime winner. Now, this is important because guess what? The money's already spent and you want a piece of that potentially now. And they might have already partners that they're working with. But who doesn't want Rafael Marrero? Who does not want another qualified resource?
Well, the contracting party, right? Because
they want it, right? They want they want quality, don't they?
I think 2 people don't want it. Number 1, the incumbent.
The incumbent doesn't want it. That's for sure.
And then the contracting party, right? So, because remember, you're talking about onboarding, and you're talking about there's a lot of paperwork involved every time you're managing a vendor. And believe me, this is what I've done, right? This has been my background. Vendor management is supplier management is no easy task, and so you're going to make sure that these people comply with all the regulations and all the terms and conditions of your procurement. But once you've got a small group down selected and they've met they've met your requirements, you just want to engage, and that's it, and just work with them,
So you as a vendor want to take the path of least resistance. You as a contracting officer want to take the path of least resistance, and we want to be one of those, right? So I made a lot of money, Sally White, by just saying, hey, let me be first choice for second place. Let them have the lion's share today. I'm not after their business today. But just let me prove to you that I deserve to be there, because we're hearing from Rafa and we're hearing from Brian, hey, we're not all that interested in competition. So we have to inject ourselves. So what do you do to inject yourself into the conversation, Sally?
So I do a couple things. I figure out who I need to talk to, and I do that a couple different ways. And Dave showed you some things on SamRadar that shows you the key people that you need to speak with. The other thing I do is I go to LinkedIn and I see if there are any connections that help me sort of form a picture, kind of a buying vision or a connection vision. Then I start connecting. And then I think we talked about this yesterday, is when I do finally get some wonderful, amazing angel on the telephone and they're gracious enough to share with me information, I say thank you. And then I also ask them if I could thank their supervisor.
Love that play. Love that play.
Well, it's not really a play.
It's a great, it's an awesome, it's a great way to be able to enhance your relationship with the people that we're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
I,
And
ne-
they still
I
appreciate
never, I never heard of that one before, Dave, but I like that one.
It's
If
awesome,
I was,
right?
yeah, if I was a CEO and some contractor sent a letter to my supervisor saying what a great job I did, I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great job, Sally. You buttering up the CEO, that's for sure.
Oh,
I'll remember you. I'll remember you that way. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
you know,
So
it's kind
here,
of it's the soul. It's kind of the soul of what we do, right? So
Yeah.
there's, you know, we all have the NACE codes and we're closing $1 million deals and we're excited, but there's also a soul aspect. There's someone on the other phone that's willing to take their time, you know, somebody like Brian, super busy, who's willing to help us. And so it's that graciousness.
and asking for help is a great way to do it. And Brian used to have, how many meetings you used to have a week with contracting folks like us?
Just made it a point,
Uh-oh.
meetings a week.
How many was it? I think it's three,
Two.
right?
I'm down in the valley. I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Two to three meetings a week, I think is what he that's what I remember. So from those meetings, so once you build a relationship, now you may be able to get a referral from the contracting officer. And you can certainly get it. You want to make sure that you're reaching out to both of these because this is where opportunities come from. Again, these are in the session handouts, the winnable opportunity matrix. You can get that there. So, hot seat question number 2. How important are relationships with buyers? Let's start with that one. How important are relationships with buyers? Let's start with you, Peter Timbers. How important are relationships with buyers? Because they're the ones that are executing contracts with us.
That's very, very important. You know, the whole thing is that you need to be proactive. You've got to reach out to these buyers. You've got to familiarize them with yourself. And that whole graphic, you know, I've been doing this for 33 years. And just because you're a federal government contractor, a lot of people think the business is automatically going to flow down to them. You've got to be proactive and you've got to go after these buyers.
You're absolutely right. So the buyers are important. They're the ones that execute the contract. And what is your pitch to a buyer, Rafa? When you have your what do the buyers care about in the capability statements that you create?
The buyers fundamentally care that you know their main concern is can you deliver as promised? Can you provide a compliant solution? That's basically it.
Yep.
For the price upon the price agreed upon during the time that you've agreed upon and in the quantities prescribed. That's all they want. They don't want people to go and suck up their time and give them any problems. And I mean, I know I didn't, right?
Do they care? Now you know a lot more about about the individual industries, but in most federal contracting places, and Brian, if you're still there, did you really care about how great an engineer they were, or did you want to get into bits and bytes of their IT system?
No.
No.
Nope. I wanted to hook my program manager up with somebody good.
Right.
And that is so true. So if they passed muster, and first things first, if you couldn't get to them, if they didn't have a GSA, if they didn't have any contract vehicle, right? That made it very difficult for you to buy from them, right?
Yep.
And if it was,
yeah.
That's not easy. And you like things easy, Mr. Driving down the road.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a guy coming in one time and he was on no vehicles. And you know, when I would meet with 2 people a week and he was doing some business at NSA, but I said to him, how do I get to you? He said, what do you mean? I said, how do I get to you? Like he hadn't really thought out before he came in. We had no way to get to him anyway, you know,
So
that's my first question.
That's so, listen to what Brian
Yes.
just said and why it's so important for your capabilities to say, here's how you can get to me. Here's my contract vehicle. I'm a small business. I'm a socioeconomic. I have the ability to do a socioeconomic status side. How do they get to you? And my question always to a buyer will be, how do you want to get to me?
Mm-hmm.
What do you prefer? What's your preferred mechanism? So your message has got to do it. So program managers, and Brian said it, Brian will introduce to program managers if you have illustrated that you have the capabilities to be able to, number one, do the job, like you said, Rafa,
Mhm.
right?
That's right.
So we have the program folks. They're the ones that are creating the work. That's our job, ladies and gentlemen, build relationships and help them create the work. And there's a great question in here from York. Is it Jorge or York? Hold on a second. I want to find out how to say your name. What's your guess
Wait,
on
Enzo.
how do you Lozano, right? Hold on a second. Let me see if I found him. Where is my, there we go. Let me go here.
Jorge
That way I'm
Lozano.
not mispronouncing names.
Jorge Lozano has 3 questions.
Is it Jorge? You think it's
Yeah, Jorge Lozano has 3.
Jorge? Is that how we say that, Jorge?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. I want there's Jorg and George and all that, and Rafa knows. Number one, I don't speak anything. I don't even speak English well, right, Rafa?
Dave.
So you have a really great statement in the Q&A. We see many contracts coming out with specifications that are already tailored to who they want. What are you talking about, Jorge? That's not fair. Right, Jorge?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Well, then, somebody
How
else
do you
needs to
make
be
them
involved.
change those specs?
That's
Woo!
somebody.
Jorge, this is right in our wheelhouse. This is what we love. How do we make them change those specs? First things first, they're not going to listen to you if they don't know who you are, right, Jorge?
We've been in business for over 30 years. I've been doing a lot of contracts, but a lot of new contracting officers, they just are brand new people. They just don't know the market or their market they're in right now.
This is
Yeah.
awesome. So
You
go
know what
ahead.
I would do? Yeah. Hey, Dave.
Yep.
Dave. Yeah, I'm losing you for a second. I'm on Green Spring Avenue in the Valley. So, but in terms of that, like contracting officers, if you have samples of other solicitations that were out there that other agencies used, like you can present that to them. But if a contractor is going to give me their spec to use or whatever, I'm not really going to be that great in terms of thinking about it. But if you give me a solicitation that other agencies have used, then I'm going to look at it. Right.
All right.
So that's what I would recommend. Not sure if that was said or not, but
I like that. I like that as well. So what Brian's saying, here we go. Here we go. Here's how we're going to look at how we can do this 2-minute challenge and how you can engage a buyer, right? With Sam Radar. So let's take a look as we're doing this. We're going back here. Now, we need them to adjust their spec, right? Right, Jorge?
Correct. You're right.
Right? So the contracting officer is probably not the one that's going to be determining what the spec is. Would you agree with that, Brian?
yep. Yes.
So in order to do that, we got to get to the program people.
Correct.
Right? So
But
in this
Dave,
instance, yeah, go ahead.
Dave, but if I did have like a past solicitation or as the CO, I had something that was going to be coming out and you sent me like a letter or email saying you ought to look at this spec. This is what's being used at NABC and the Army or whatever. Well, then I would probably forward it to the program manager at that point in time. I would have a reason to make sure, as Raphael said, reduce the risk of getting the work done. Right. So I would forward that to the program manager.
So how do we do that? We're using Sam Radar. We're going to hit this button, contact the buyer, and say, hey, I just want to make sure you know that whatever's coming up next, I'd love to be able to be discussing how safety through another agency is what he just said. Reduce my risk for saying, hey, the Navy's doing this, or the Army's doing that, or USDA's doing this. And you could be doing the same thing at CMS, which is where Brian was from. Great example of what you can do with that. And using Sam Radar. I also, and in that situation, Jorge, GovBrief is exactly how we've done it in the past. To be able to draw people in. What do you do, Jorge?
We do security systems, electronic surveillance equipment, cameras and sensors, all kinds of other device command centers for federal agencies, Air Force, Navy, and all that.
And so you already have awards that were made based on scopes that favored you.
Correct, correct. Yeah,
That's
we
right.
need border security, which is really in those
So,
at least written.
so what you want to be able to do is say, hey, hey, David, I noticed that you bought a security system from these cats. I'd love to chat with you about what some of the best in class features that are being implemented on other programs, on other projects. Can you plug me in with the PM? Or if he says no, right, David can always say no. He say, hey, can you, here's the scope for you to review. If you think it passes muster, send it over to the program manager.
That's a good idea. We never done that. You're right, because the biggest challenge for us is try to be in front of the program managers.
That's right.
They got gatekeepers on there, way so many.
And if you have some really cool stuff that you're saying, hey, this is best in class, or hey, this brand new technology will be able to assist you in being to protect your organization. We do briefings on that, and we'll draw them out, and we'll have conversations. You'll be talking to hundreds of program
I was
managers.
just gonna say that I would schedule a call with Rob and Dave.
Yep.
And have Dave help me figure out who the Massachusetts National Guard person is, because they would be very important. They would be very interested right now, Jorge, in your information in light of the rulings that came out based on that individual who's writing secrets on Post-it notes. And so yeah, there's a lot of, Dave can really help you with all that. Dave and the team.
Hey,
We can.
hey, Dave, can I mention one other thing?
Sure.
Just related to that. I guess the other thing, Jorge, you need to think about is what I said, how do they get to you? And if you're on a vehicle, an IDIQ or whatever, and that contracting officer is never bought or used that vehicle, you're going to have to educate them on how to get to you, or you're going to have to get on a vehicle that they use. So
That's right.
that's like another. So if you're sending them information, but they have no way to get to you, you're wasting your time.
Right.
From
What
that
we would
standpoint.
do is we ask so many questions to educate them, basically.
So,
Because
Jorge,
there's a lot of specifications that are not written well, because there are new program managers, also new contracting officers.
that's
Try to help them out, because at the end of the day, it's their our tax money, especially in security right now, with cybersecurity being hacked and all that. It's to me really, it's trying to help them out.
and Jorge, I think what to piggyback on what Brian said, we think that contracting officers know everything about the procurement vehicles that are out there. There's over 10,000 BPAs and IDIQs. Not talking about GSA contracts. I'm talking about individual BPAs and IDIQs. What are the chances they know about yours?
Right.
And maybe you have a GSA contract too. That's fine.
Yep.
It's our job, your job. Get that out in front of them. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we
All
help.
right. Fantastic. All right. So real quick, you can try Sam Radar for free. For free. So do it, try it, do this the 2-minute challenge. That's all I'm saying. For people to do 2 minutes a day. Take the time, look at the email, shoot out an email, maybe pick up the phone. Why do we do it? Because we want to be in these two numbers. 87% of the contracts that are out there that were released, 87%. 91% of the dollars that were spent were 5 or fewer offers received. All right, so this is not, hang on one second. We do have some questions. Let's pop out some questions, Sally. What do you see in there that you want to see here? How do we talk to the program managers? That's you too, Jorge, right?
Does this work?
There
Right.
is no contract. There is no list, Jorge. That's why we use GovBrief, because we have 1.2 million federal contacts, and we go out and we promote you and what you want to speak about. That's the only way I know how to do it. Anybody else? I mean, you get a referral one by one from contracting officers using sam.gov, right? That's one way. Anybody else on how you can reach program managers? Sally, you probably have going.
Absolutely. So again, if you're not on Sam Radar, get Sam Radar, because that's going to tell you who you need to speak with, who you need to connect to. We'll have their phone numbers, and also go to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is basically free. You can do some fabulous graphic that's online with your brand. If you don't have a brand, Dr. Morero can help you. but go to LinkedIn because you can immediately send out a note, say, hey, it looks like we have a couple of people, connections in common. I see you got a, opportunity here. And so LinkedIn, definitely do it. And Dave, we have another question. Just wanted to ask Scott, it says, does this work? We're a distributor only. I'm a distributor only. I don't bid on projects necessarily. I can say it does. We actually have distributors who have come into Dave's team, Ron Beck and some others are distributors, because a lot of these large primes and contractors are looking at working with distributors. They don't necessarily need to work with the mothership.
That's correct. In fact, ADS, Atlantic Diving Supply, is just a massive distributor. That's what they do. And guess I met some folks from there. And here's a real little tidbit. I'll be talking about this at 1 p.m. a little bit, Rafa.
Mhm.
The importance of NAICS codes, in spite of what Brian Hempel from CMS seems to think, the importance of NAICS codes for you is to make sure your NAICS code has the highest small business capability as you can. Now, I'm telling you this. If anybody knows ADS? Anybody know who ADS is? Atlantic Diving Supply. You're like, who is that? If you're not in the federal space, you don't know. But did you know that they are a $3 billion a year organization that is a small business? How does that happen? Because they're less than 500 employees on their primary NAICS code. That's how they do it. So there's secrets to the sauce here where you can have virtually unlimited potential in this space, but you want to make sure that your NAICS code is one of those that you want. So, all right. Any other, what is another question you got there, Sally? Any other ones we have?
It looks like a lot of thanks, a lot of thank yous to you, Dave, for this information. So government Dawn says government does not want to accept price increases. I think we're good.
There, in some instances, you're right. However, that's one that you probably want for your changes in pricing. You want to come to a briefing with Jason Moy and I don't know when it's going to be.
Exactly.
Watch GovBrief.
Exactly.
And talk to Greg Clark. And
if there's questions, it's kind of hard to scroll up in the questions because you scroll up on a new question. But seriously, any of us here are delighted to get on a 15-minute Calendly call or free call with you to give you insights. If there's anything we can do to be of service, that's one of the things that the Dave team here does. And so if we've said something that sort of piques your interest, like if I can look at your LinkedIn page and give you ideas or insights and how to sort of align it with your website, et cetera, happy to do that. And I put my info in the chat.
You love it. So Diane is asking, when you have an award, you can tell others you have it. Do you need permission from the agency to use the data from what they are doing in marketing? Great question. You might have limitations. You can tell them that you have the award. That's public data. Right. That's public.
Yeah.
And unless it's not on FPDS, which if it's DOD or something like that, which is in the spook world, you can't talk about those things, or NSA, CIA. You can't do that, but you can use it. It is public. You want it. And not only that, your CPARS has the contact, right, Brian, of if it's over $250,000 of the.
Yeah, I would just say one precaution, depending on the dollar size. Sometimes the agencies might want to make the announcement and notify Congress or just make a public announcement. So depending on which agency you're dealing with, just let them do it first, and then it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem.
Or if they make you sign something that you confidentially, because some of the security issues they can't. However, you can do a wonderful marketing statement that says a very large, government contractor, contracted with us to create a new website, something like that, as what Raphael would do, so that you can get it out there without, make it anonymized, is what I'm saying.
Yep. There's ways to do it.
Yeah. And Dave, certainly what you said, if you have a CPARS for work you did, that is a marketing tool for your current agency or other agencies. That's your best friend. Really good CPARS.
Couldn't agree more. All right, we're running out of time, so I'm hoping we're just so hot seat question number 3. How can we leverage the holidays and continuing resolution to build relationships? We've been talking about this for the past 3 weeks on our Monday roundtables. You might ask, what are Monday roundtables? They're kind of like this, except we get together with Sam Radar members and other folks that have come from GovBrief. So How do we do it? Is it a good time to do this? Is my question.
Perfect.
No,
Connie.
no,
Perfect.
no,
No.
No.
not
Whoa,
with contract.
whoa, whoa.
What are you
No,
saying, Brian?
they've been working at home for the past year. They have all the government people have leave. They're not even going to be around between Christmas and New Year's.
You
Brian,
could
I'm
be
gonna
right.
send you a card. Brian, I'm gonna send you a holiday card. I'm gonna send you
on.
some chocolates for under $2. I'm gonna send
So-
you a text.
You're not going to make them
No.
work, but you can actually use the downtime to prepare your marketing materials so that when they're back in the office, and I would time it for the second week of January, actually not the first one, right?
Right, I agree.
You can actually deliver. And Dave, guess this is what we're doing now. United States Postal Service flat rate envelope, right? It looks just like like a FedEx package, but it's not as expensive, right?
Mhm.
Printed version of the materials, have it delivered to them, and just make sure that it gets past the inbox and the junk folder, right?
Yep.
Very important to combine offline and online materials in your outreach efforts.
And you're doing that now, man. And you're going back to the golden age of having junk mail in the mailbox, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we
It's not
do,
junk mail though.
No,
It's
it's not.
it's progressive marketing material.
It's direct mail. It's direct mail marketing. It's direct marketing is what it's called. And I can tell you that it works. It has a great response rate when coupled with an online component, and when you incorporate tactics such as the QR code in order to track the return on investment. We're experts at that. We can tell you exactly how many people may respond based on every 1,000 pieces that we send out. But we design really cool stuff, Dave. And so we'll make them chuckle, we'll make them laugh, and give you a second look, right? That's important. Humor is great. Great graphics are also very important, and not overselling, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so true.
Well, and I just want to point out something in Peter Timbus's, if you notice in Peter Timbus's background, he has a QR code. And as Dr. Raphael said, you can put these QR codes in your LinkedIn page, your business cards. They're pretty incredible. And they do you can do animated QR codes, and it basically takes people to exactly where you want to go.
That's very cool. Yeah, we've used those. Are very cool.
Yep.
So one of the questions is, how can Sam Radar help with that? And I'm going to go back to this again with the 2-minute challenge. And give me a second, and I'll flip back over to Sam Radar, because I think you said something that is really interesting, Brian. Because if we want to reach out to David Kilborn and we say, hey, we want to chat with you about Plan 8, right? You may get an out of office reply, right?
Yep.
But you might not. One of the things that I'll say, and I appreciate what Brian said, is, hey, most of the folks have PTR. They're working from. They're not going to be even talking to anybody between the holidays. But if you've used up all of your PTR and you are there, when we used to phone people up to schedule meetings for me in DC, you would have no answer, no answer, no answer. Somebody pick up the phone, and when they pick up the phone, you have a perfect time to talk to somebody to start building a relationship. Perfect time. They may not pick up the phone, but you never know till you freaking pick up the phone and call somebody.
Well,
That's
even
what
if
I
you
say.
leave a message, Dave,
Yeah.
you had a really good point yesterday. Even if you leave a message that says, it's been a real pleasure to work with you and your team through this year, or we didn't have an opportunity to be of service to you this year, but we'd love to be of service next year. Wishing you and your family a really wonderful holiday, a safe and wonderful holiday. And they get that message among all the other messages, and it perhaps differentiates you, which is really important.
Yep. So 2-minute challenge.
And
Do
we
it
have 2
anyway.
minutes.
What are you going to lose? You're going to ask them for a meeting or ask for a referral. You already don't got the meeting, and you already don't got the referral. You got you have nothing to lose in 2 minutes, and you have everything to gain. And by the way, Rafael Marrero, how many federal contracting officers do you need in order to have millions of dollars?
It could just be one.
It could just be one.
Exactly. I mean, it depends on the size of the purchase orders and the devices that you're selling or the solutions that you're selling.
Yep.
And typically what they prefer the contracting vehicles when it exceeds a certain threshold, and when there's going to be repeat business implied or that may be implied, right? Because they never like to infer that it's guaranteed. but that's how you help them cut to the chase and order some more if you do a good job.
That's right. All right, so we want to get you out of here. Make sure you sign up for Sam Radar. Try it for free. 7 days you got it for free. And for those of you who need capability statements and marketing materials, I'm telling you, I send everything to the good doctor, the Colonel, and he is the reason we call him the Colonel is you have an honorary Colonel degree from Kentucky, right?
I have a commission as a colonel by the governor of Kentucky. It's a lifetime commission. That's right.
A lifetime commission. That's why I call him the Kentucky Fried Cuban.
It was actually a very prestigious and honorable. It's
It
a big
is, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And we love you, man. And by the way, Sam Radar's logo, where'd that come from?
Hey, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. DK, Greg was not here today because people are hamming and sawing all around his house. He's like, man, I can't get on here. So if you need proposal help, Brian, Greg Clark from DKA can help you out with that, and I'll give you an opportunity to be able to check that. Sally White can help with LinkedIn and also in person. And I used to do this, so I don't do it anymore because Sally does it, and she's crazy with it. She's so good at it and has the capacity to be able to help you if you need some additional support there.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate you, Sally. And Peter Timmis, who didn't get to talk too much, but I'll tell you what, banks do not understand federal contracting, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why Peter Timmis helps folks. And just with that, what is it called, Peter? The letter of what?
Financial support.
Letter of financial support. And that can happen before the bid.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah. It's
and
really
during the certification application process, Dave, because one of the biggest reasons people get turned away is because they don't have the financial resources, right?
Yep.
Or the wherewithal to pull it off. And Peter's letter has actually supported several of our clients, and I can vouch for this. He's a great guy and he's helped our clients. I stand strongly behind him.
That's awesome, man. Well, and I do too. I love what you do, Peter, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And love your QR code too. So there you go. So, and Brian Hebel, who probably had to bail. I knew he had a noon appointment, a noon lunch appointment. So we appreciate Brian. If you want to learn more about Brian, you can go to acquisitionhelp.com. And again, expert from the inside can tell you how things work. And he's got a bunch of things. You'll see things on GovBrief from him too. He has incredible capabilities in being able to help you understand the government. And again, we appreciate you. I'm Dave Lowe. I will be on the SAM.gov tutorial today talking about opportunities and finding opportunities on SAM.gov and how you can also use that to be able to get ahead of those RFPs. Jorge, we were talking about it, getting in front of those folks, maybe with a RFI, request for information or sources sought, to be able to start feeding them those sample scopes of work. And I've done it even without a contract that was already awarded. So can be done. So please join me for that. If you'd like to be the SME in 2024, the subject matter expert for your company, promoting what you do to the govies or to industry, please send a message of support at govbrief.us. We love to talk with you. We have a bunch of people coming on board, don't we, Sally White?
We absolutely do. It's a wonderful lineup. You do not want to miss it.
Yep. So there for industry, you can check it out there. Our number one job, build relationships. That's why we're here. That's what we need to do today.
Yep.
I'm going to ask one more poll, and then we'll get you folks out. I know we went a little bit over. Let me see what you need professional help. What do you need professional help with? Monitoring bids, marketing to feds, capabilities, all that kind of stuff. You can choose whatever you like, and we'll get to the questions in just a second. You have 291 days to disrupt the status quo. The status quo is your competitors are cashing government checks.
That's it.
Your competitors are cashing government checks.
Wow.
I'm just going to say it one more time. Your competitors are cashing government checks. For crying out loud. So you need to let them know why you should be one of the 5. You do this right, it works. We see it happen. I was talking to, this is crazy. It's crazy stuff. Join me today at 1 p.m. if you'd like to. You can find it at govbrief.us. I'll be talking in a few minutes. free trial with Sam Radar. Any parting comments? I'm going to go through the Q&A in just a second. Any parting comments
Hey,
before we do that?
there's another one about bonding. There's quite a few different comments. I don't know if you can stay for a minute.
Oh, I love that.
I have to
Bonding's
jump
a great
on Zoom.
question.
Bye, everybody. But yeah, there's a couple of questions.
Who's got the question about bonding?
Miss Tiffany Kruger.
Hang on a
Wait a
second,
minute.
Tiffany.
Bonding?
Go ahead. Let me see. Let me see if I can get her unmuted. Tiffany, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So
Okay.
bonding is because you're in construction, right, Tiffany?
Or engineering, yeah.
Correct.
Yep. What do you do in construction?
Elevators.
Elevators.
Modernizing elevators. Yes.
Modernizing elevators. Okay. I'll let you go first, doctor, and I'll fill in the gaps because I started in this world with bonding as well. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, a great portion of my background, as you know, Dave, was in a multinational construction firm, right?
Mhm.
That's where I headed up vendor management. So bonding is an essential component because it essentially opens up your window of opportunities and possibilities to get more contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an example of how we worked with a contractor and helped them like grow their sales by increasing their bonding capacity.
Mm-hmm.
One vendor who was in the 8A program had $1.5 million per project and $5 million aggregate bonding, right? And this was limiting the size and scope of what they were doing. So they were really like in a certain neighborhood every year, Dave, for like the first 27 years of their existence, until we went into the FDOT DBE program, right, which is federally funded and managed at the state level by the Department of Transportation. But it is a federal program under 49 CFR, right? So what happened there was we increased his bonding capacity to $25 million, right? We went from like 5 aggregate to $25 million. And Dave, the first contract that he was able to execute on immediate that he was awarded by a large construction prime was for $9 million, right?
And he wouldn't have been able to do it if you didn't do that work.
Exactly. So this really opened up the possibilities. And long story short, we took this vendor and multiplied their annual revenues substantially over a 3-year period. And they made the Inc. 5000 list several times, just so you know, and they were contractor of the year. And so, Tiffany, this is a fundamental area. Getting the proper bonding is very important. There are programs that will subsidize your company's efforts. And if you need more information, I can help point you in the right direction. I don't do bonding, but we have a partner that does and is extremely qualified. And his name is Richard Zimmerman, and I can provide you his contact information. He's one of our go-to partners, just like David Lowe is in this round. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
And I'll throw in on that in 2008 I was representing a company. We got a $3 million deal with Verizon.
Yep.
Good grief. And then they lost it because they couldn't bond. So
That's right.
Hold on one sec.
Yep. Bonding is important. I mean, your hands are tied unless you have the right amount of bonding, and you can actually bid on bigger projects. Sometimes there's a performance bond. If you're new to the contracting game, and there's some hesitation in terms of awarding you a specific contract, and they may ask you to post that bond right there to make sure that, let's say that God forbid your company goes belly up, or that there's some type of disruption to service on a water main or something like that, that you have the necessary bonding to make sure that that's paid out, right? That's why bonding is so important. Basically, it's someone's vouching for you. And part of what they do and how we've helped the clients is we've helped them on the quality assurance, quality control plans, Dave. We've also written safety plans, health, safety, and environmental plans, looking at their OSHA logs, looking at their policies and procedures, and also quality management certification. So when you have these things in place, the insurance companies view you as less risk prone than others in the market.
That's exactly right. I love it, man. That's awesome. So from the anonymous attendee, where can we find the handout for the slides? You can't because I didn't save them there. You can find everything else. Oh, the handouts, not the slides, but you can have the handouts are all in the handouts. Hold on a second. I'll pop the handouts in there.
I want to see the name. I don't.
There's the rest of the handouts from today.
Yeah.
So, very good. You're welcome, everybody. Let's see. Do we have any other questions before we jump? Well, if not, let's see. What happened to the yellow pages that came out from GPO?
Mhm.
I don't know what that means, Jorge. What is that? You still here, Jorge?
What was the question, Dave?
Yeah, I'm still here. It used to be a list of book like the yellow page for, for other, per people. They used to gather in the data of all the, program managers, contracting officers, all the way from the, from the secretary of the Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, and all that.
Yeah, they stopped doing that a long time ago, Jorge.
Ah,
I've never seen any program people listed, with the exception of potentially in forecasts. And were you asking about forecasts as well with
correct.
the
Yeah,
DoD?
that's another one too, because the DoD, I push the forecast, I go to acquisition.gov and all that, and then it just keeps spinning. It doesn't go. I got the others, but it's not the DoD.
Yeah, that I can't answer that question either. That's a government system there for you. That's your tax dollars at work there, Jorge.
Exactly.
All right, guys. And we went over a little bit. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out, Jorge. Great to meet you. And for everybody else, we really appreciate you guys. You're welcome, Aaron. And for everybody else, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. That's already done. Is Hanukkah done?
Well, it's several nights. Right? It started last Friday. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So anyway, happy holidays for all of you who don't participate in any of the things I just said. All right, guys. Appreciate you. And you want to hang it? You want to come on the 1 p.m. you said?
Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll get you there. I'll get you an invite. All right, guys. Take it easy. See you next year. Happy New Year.